the knockout stages for the first time in European Cup Rugby history. Rory O'Connor and Matt Williams will be along on Monday Night Rugby. And then in far less positive news, Racing 92 in the last 90 minutes or so have confirmed that Simon Zebo did indeed hear racist comments from the crowd in Belfast on Saturday night. 53106 is the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. Dan McDonnell here in studio. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Joe.
And Richie McCormack here as well. Richie, hello.
Joe, you well?
Let's bring people straight up today, because I suspect it might be our talking point, along with Man United, right off at the top of the show here. With the very latest from Racing 92, this all came on the back of Simon Zebo's tweet on Saturday evening after Ulster's, well, it's been overshadowed now, but amazing victory over Racing. He finished a tweet by saying, "I hope my ears deceived me with some comments directed my way from the crowd. Hashtag not on. Django always wins," which led to speculation he was talking about racist comments. And it would seem Racing 92 have confirmed that.
Yeah, Racing condemning the racist insults allegedly aimed at Zebo during Saturday's Heineken Champions Cup meeting with Ulster at Kingspan Stadium. European rugby organisers have spoken with both Racing and Ulster about the incident, while Ulster themselves say they will, quote, robustly investigate any complaints received. Racing's statement suggests only one or two people may have been involved, adding that they didn't want to stigmatise Ulster rugby as a whole, while Ulster head coach Dan McFarland told the BBC today that anyone with information should come forward.
Yeah, look, we're aware of Simon's social media postings, and like if that is true, it's totally unacceptable. As an organisation, like we put inclusivity right at the forefront of who we are. That's across everything, and when something like that, if it happens, it's taken extremely seriously and will be dealt with. Look, if there's anybody out there who knows what happened, and if something happened and can give information on that, look, we want to know. We want to know, because nobody should have to put up with that.
That is Dan McFarland speaking today to the BBC.
That was today, was it? That was before Racing confirmed it. When you think about it, an Irish international playing in Belfast in the European Cup, being subjected to that, is just the behaviour of Neanderthals. And I hope they're found. If it's proven, I hope they're banned for life. And we see the back of them. That this is going on as a sporting event is a disgrace. We've seen it in Premier League matches. And I didn't actually think we would see Irish internationals facing that at any ground around the country. And here we are.
It is a sort of a shocking story, all right, in that context. I mean, I'm not too familiar with sort of, Kingspan Stadium in terms of what sort of the noise levels were on Saturday and how easy or otherwise this should be to track down, in terms of people around being aware of it. You would have thought, I don't know, like...
Loud enough for Simon Zebo to hear them.
Yeah, loud enough to hear them, and again, not being on top of what specifically happened, but you would assume that people within earshot and around would note something like that if a player on the pitch is actually able to be aware of it, in the heat of battle as such, Yeah. So you'd assume the process there should be straightforward enough, I guess. I mean, the club have, the fact that Racing have actually released a statement to go down that road. It's not that it needed to be legitimised, but it just brings it to that next level in terms of, setting things in motion.
Well, there was a degree of uncertainty surrounding the Zebo tweet initially. Is he talking about racist abuse or just comments he didn't like that he thought were out of order? And Racing,
seems this was a necessary step for the EPCR to go ahead with their investigations.
Racing have used the word racist now, so that moves things very quickly onto a different level. EPCR will be obliged to get involved, I would think. Ulster are continuing their own investigation. We await the outcome of that. We did offer Simon Zebo the opportunity to come on the show this evening. He was of a mind to just leave things for the time being, as you might imagine. And he's got a game on Saturday to focus on. So we'll have to see where the investigation goes, how quickly it takes, or how long it takes, rather. And hope the appropriate action is taken, I would think. It completely overshadows what was a fantastic night in Belfast.
Yeah, it's desperately sad, remarkably brainless on behalf of whoever might be responsible, and just hopefully it will be an isolated incident from this point on.
Yeah, so meanwhile there's news coming thick and fast, far less serious news, but news of a Premier League sacking.
Yeah, David Wagner's left the Premier League's bottom side Huddersfield Town by mutual consent, Joe. It's not a sacking. It's most definitely not a sacking.
Not a sacking.
The German leaves after just over 3 years in charge with the side bottom of the table and 8 points from safety. Huddersfield chairman Dean Hoyle, in the nicest statement ever released on a departing manager, says that Wagner came to them earlier this season asking to take a break from football and was initially convinced to stay, but Hoyle says an ongoing dialogue has resulted today in Wagner leaving the club. Mark Hudson will take charge for this weekend's visit of Manchester City to the John Smith Stadium, which coincidentally will be live on Sundays Off the Ball.
Do we know why he wanted the break?
Ongoing rigours of day-to-day management is what the statement from Hoyle says. Like I say, it is the nicest statement a chairman has ever put out about a departing manager. He put him up there with the greats of Huddersfield management that have been there in the past, like Herbert Chapman, saying that what Wagner has achieved on a shoestring budget essentially has been remarkable at the club, and that this has been the result of a dialogue that's been ongoing for a few months, and that ultimately both parties decided that it was probably best in the interest of the club for them to find somebody else to dig them out of this hole that they find themselves in.
Yeah, there's a great line. I mean, I really like this line in the statement just because we get fed so many lines in statements about managers and players and stuff. And I know the term, this is the Dean Hoyle quote, I know the term mutual consent is often a byword for the manager being sacked in professional football, but this is truly a joint decision. So, a nice sort of, it's very rare that things end amicably with
truly amicably.
Fans still seem to like him, and he hasn't managed to sort of tarnish his legacy, his time at the club. And they've also managed, again, maybe we were cynical enough to think, is this almost too nice? But they seem to have actually managed to hit on the right compromise where they don't have to sack him, or he doesn't have to, leave them in the lurch at a bad time. So,
well, it seems based on what you're saying, he wanted to leave even earlier on in the season. I'm quite sad to hear that David Wagner was finding the rigours tough to deal with, because he always struck me as a very nice man and never lost his composure, I would say. Some managers in the heat of games look like they're on the edge, like they're feeling the pressure. I think Wagner never looked to me like he was.
Only this season did the first kind of barbs aimed at officials kind of emerge, where he was unhappy with certain decisions and says that things need to be done better in certain aspects. But generally, just the most on the level guy that I think Premier League has seen. But he leaves, having done a brilliant job at Huddersfield. He kept them up when nobody would have suggested last season that he'd keep them up. This year they've barely reinvested and found themselves struggling again, and that was to be understood, I guess. And he leaves without a relegation on his CV as well, which kind of will probably, to a degree, work in his favour as well.
Okay, so that's David Wagner. There's action tonight.
Yeah, Manchester City looking to narrow the gap on the Premier League leaders Liverpool to just the 4 points tonight. Pep Guardiola's side play host to a Wolves outfit that knocked Liverpool out of the FA Cup just last weekend. The teams are in for this one. For City, Ederson starts in goal. They've got a back four then of Kyle Walker, John Stones, Aymeric Laporte and Danilo. In midfield, Fernandinho anchors it, and in front of him are David Silva and Bernardo Silva, with the front trio of Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané and Gabriel Jesus. Kevin De Bruyne and Sergio Aguero both on the bench. For Wolves, Rui Patricio starts in goal. It's a back three of Ryan Bennett, Conor Cody and Willy Bolly, with Matt Doherty and Jonathan Otto providing the width. In midfield, Leander Dendoncker and Ruben Neves. In front of them is João Moutinho, and then the front two of Raul Jimenez and Diogo Jota. A kick-off at the Etihad is at 8 o'clock.
Meanwhile, Spurs, Dan, they were clinging on by their fingernails to this title race in reality, and Manchester United have probably put paid to that now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
What a man.
What a tactical performance from Solskjaer. Gary Neville summed up, the second half was a bit of a...
I mean, the keeper was still amazing.
Yes, he was.
Let's just keep that in check maybe.
Yes, no, I know. But Gary Neville said of the first half that Solskjaer, he caught him out crafty. He caught out Pochettino, identified the weakness. As best, I think, exemplified by the first goal, which was a tactical punch of precision. It was exactly, it seems, what they had been planning for and hoping to do. And it came off beautifully in Dubai and beyond, who knows. I was a bit surprised. There were a number of occasions before that goal where Spurs were left 2v2 at the back. And it became fairly evident that Manchester United were playing with split strikers in Rashford and Martial. And they were trying to end up in a 2v2 position. Now, you don't want your centre-halves in a 2v2 with Rashford and Martial. I must say, I was a bit surprised Pochettino, the heir apparent, took so long to rectify things. He did in the second half, went to a 4-2-3-1. The full-backs didn't push up as much. I was kind of surprised that 44 minutes in, this very, very clever tactical approach from Solskjaer was still a viable option. I was surprised Pochettino hadn't shut that down.
Did he trust his players to keep the ball well enough that it wouldn't be exposed as often as it sort of was or threatened to be, in the sense that, he had I mean, he had very good ball players on the pitch, and they did, like, you know, they were the better side for sort of, you know, consistent spells.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, yeah, it does strike me. I mean, I probably agree with your original point, but to try and take the devil's advocate on it, that does he believe, well, you know, my players should be better on the ball and they won't make the mistake that Trippier made, and they won't sort of be loose in terms of their, you know, in terms of their sort of basic distribution and retention of the ball. And albeit with a different system, you saw in spells of the second half of how good they can be in terms of Winks and, you know, the players that they have there. But yeah, like, you know, it was a proper away performance by Manchester United ultimately, albeit at, you know, Wembley or whatever, but it's still like going to their place in some shape or form and executing that smash and grab. And I mean, I wouldn't be getting madly carried away about giving them the job still. I don't know what the cutoff point is, because you know, it's one of these sort of things in management that's very hard to almost tangibly explain why it happens. But you get the new manager bounce. I know it's gone on for a lengthy enough period of time now, and you can believe that there's real substance to it, and there seems to be very valid reasons to believe that. But I mean, it's still a win, you know, and a very notable win.
Still early doors, absolutely. But I suppose,
you know, if the late goal is, if there's a late goal, are we having this discussion though? Are we having this discussion if Spurs stuck one in with 5 minutes to go? Are we? What's the tone of the discussion today?
Well,
I know that's classic whataboutery about everything.
It is classic whataboutery, Dan. I'm disappointed in you.
Well, no,
what I'm just
saying, chances
though,
to do it.
Yeah, but what I'm just saying though,
not
is
just
that
one chance.
What yesterday marks is another. If there's a checklist of things Solskjaer has to complete to get the job. Initially, it was the good vibes, and I would say, you know, that any manager could give that, especially after Mourinho. Then there was a sense, I think, which has been overlooked somewhat, about his understanding of the culture of the club, which is really important. There is a reason that Mata and Fellaini and Lukaku, to a lesser extent, are not featuring. It's because Solskjaer has a vision for the club.
Yeah,
And you know, even Van Gaal and Mourinho can't destroy 60 years of tradition. It's about pace, and it's about attack, and it's about numbers going forward. And then I would say what yesterday demonstrated, thirdly, was a certain tactical acumen that he hadn't really had to display in the initial 5 games.
No, that's another step. And I do think the interesting point about Solskjaer generally, you talk about scrutiny and attention that comes with a job.
Yeah.
And obviously he's very aware of the expectation levels that come with Manchester United, with being a Manchester United employee for a period of time. It certainly does count for something. You know, because it's a debate about, you know, do you believe that all of the best managers are with all of the best clubs, or sometimes is it about, you know, people being at a club who can handle the prestige of that certain job? Because I mean, Solskjaer, you know, at Cardiff looked like a poor manager, you know, and he was down that bottom end of the table and struggled with it. And I mean, that was the blot on his CV. And in a different way, you've Gareth Southgate, who was obviously mentioned over the weekend, you know, struggling with Middlesbrough to agree, but gets into a high-profile job. And because he can cope with it and almost let the players breathe and do what they can do, because you're working with better players, the results follow. You know, and it is that's the interesting side of things. And sometimes, you know, there's a debate about very good players and why they don't make good managers. But actually, maybe if they were working in an environment that they know, it's easier than dropping down to Ipswich or something like that.
Maybe Roy Keane just needed to skip a few rungs in the ladder.
I'm not sure.
Lads, strong rumours Fergie, sorry Sir Alex, he says, back in the training ground. Yeah, he certainly has been. He has been.
Very involved, I think is the term I heard.
Last week, yeah. But I mean, if you're, again, that would strike me as intelligence. Bring back Mike Phelan. Use, you know, maybe the greatest manager of all time, arguably, if he's at your disposal. Why would, like, that is intelligence.
Why is it deemed intelligent to have him involved with Solskjaer but keep him at an arm's length when the likes of Mourinho and Moyes and that were there?
Well, they had a bigger ego. I mean, this is Van Gaal's Manchester United.
So he's just someone they can control now. He's a remote control operated caretaker.
No.
See, well, that's, you know, is that the next line of thought that goes with that?
So.
He is the Manchurian candidate.
No, I don't think so. I don't think anyone will say that. Lads, what the hell are the FAI at? I nearly had a heart attack when I saw the Instagram post with Declan Rice in a new Ireland jersey.
Taken in May.
I thought he'd declared for us. I started jumping, and then I read a happy poxy birthday. I can't take any more, lads, from Garrett. I thought it was strange though. I thought, is this a joint happy birthday wish and announcement?
This is it. We had that going on around the same time as the whole O'Neill, Roy Keane, Forest thing this morning. It was all just sort of like, what the hell's happening on this Monday? Declan Rice's 20th birthday today.
So it was just a happy birthday message.
Yeah, it's his 20th birthday. So happy birthday to Ireland international Declan Rice was
That was very strange.
Well, it depends. History will judge that tweet one way or the other.
No, but it struck me. I mean, that's why I thought it was an announcement. If it just said happy birthday Declan Rice and it was a picture of him in the Irish jersey, I would have thought, okay, a little bit desperate, but I get it. But the fact it said happy birthday to Ireland international.
But he is an Ireland. I mean, it was factually correct.
But more to the point, it's Robbie Brady's birthday.
Robbie
today.
Brady's birthday, yeah.
And they didn't acknowledge that.
It completely ignored.
Facebook apparently for Robbie Brady's birthday.
Because he got bigger reach on Facebook.
He got
Dan.
Facebook.
Ignore that
because
for a
Robbie
second.
Brady's not on Twitter. This
Don't
is
worry about
apparently-
that for a second. Okay, Robbie Brady's grand.
Bigger reach.
So, by saying Ireland international, yes, it's factually correct, but it is now we understand it is a willful misunderstanding of the context, disregard of the context, which is all important right now, which is delicate.
Maybe they're just trying to smoke him out.
I thought it was
Like everyone else, they want to see if he likes it.
Did you not think it was a bit strange?
He liked a tweet over the weekend saying future or an Instagram comment. I think Nathan Murphy's been stalking Declan Rice
Do
on
you ever
Instagram.
think when you were like 18, 19 and thinking what you wanted to do, like part of it would have been analysing tweets?
Oh, well, I would presume now in every journalism course that's going to have to be a big module.
Like, I mean, he likes one tweet, and it's like, I mean, we've all accidentally clicked on something at some point or other, you know.
I've never clicked on anything that said future Ireland captain.
Well, no, but I mean, you haven't been sent that message too often to a company.
Oh yeah, but fine, getting back to the
a good
brass tacks here
performance,
for a
like,
second.
Probably too often that I'd be comfortable with.
Was it not a strange posting from the FAI?
I thought it was odd.
Yeah.
See,
Did you think for a second this looks like an announcement?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. I actually got, to be honest, I got a phone call from someone because I missed it at the time, and because there was a whole comment range of sort of belief that what's the story with this kit? This kit was in play, you know, after he left.
Yeah.
This is a new jersey. Has this been done? But I mean, it was pretty obvious that he wasn't in sort of Dublin today or yesterday.
He was part of the kit launch.
So he was part of the kit launch, and basically you dig around and find out that he had been part of the kit launch last May. So this was done then.
I thought it was.
If it was an announcement, you'd have you'd go for something a bit more suggestive, like, you know, happy birthday, and there's, you know, or there's a birthday greeting coming or whatever. History will judge it, because then all of it, like Gary Lineker was getting involved and everyone was
I'm
getting
judging
involved.
it now. There's no history about it. It was odd at the time.
I'm sure really, really confident. Either that, or I mean, it's just someone got a bit
Better be very
excited
confident.
with the social media, you know,
This'll do the trick.
banter era
Yeah.
social media, which could end up looking daft, because I mean, this does appear to be close either way.
As in Rice's decision?
Rice's decision does appear to be pretty close.
By his own admission, it is. Yeah.
So, and I think there's an expectation that it's going to be resolved pretty soon. So we'll know pretty quickly if that tweet was one of the stupidest moments of all time. To sort of highlight, it'll be the intro to all the colour pieces, you know, and where it goes wrong, or it was a sign of their confidence, which did appear to exist before Christmas.
Okay. I'm going to go for odd regardless, but that's just me.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Ulster Rugby should be able to identify the scum responsible for the Zebo abuse. Confidential hotline for fans who obviously know, says Deck in Dublin. Somebody else. Terrible to hear what's happened to Simon Zebo. He's an Irish international. To think his fellow countrymen would use that towards him is disgusting.
It doesn't matter that he's an Irish international or not. Like, if it happens to anybody, it's wrong.
It's absolutely abhorrent if it happens to anybody. I do think it's even worse and just more shocking that it's happening to an Irish international.
Surprising, yeah.
It's just
More surprising rather than even worse. You know, like it's more.
I said more shocking.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. It's
when you stop and think about it, like he scored tries for Ireland. He's represented Ireland. He's pretty likable character as well. Again, none of that makes it worse, but it does make it more shocking that it actually happened. It's just disgraceful.
I don't know. You're trying to try and analyse why it would be or something, and then you go down a road of like giving it too much credit rather than maybe just.
I'm trying to rationalise the irrational.
Yeah, in some way, like it happened. It's obviously sort of latent in that person to sort of think that way.
So Andy Murray, then we were expecting Andy Murray to have a difficult Australian Open. It's proven that way. It'll be a short Australian Open.
Yeah, he says he'll decide on the hip surgery that could well extend his career in the next week or two. The former world number one beaten this morning in 5 sets by Roberto Bautista Agut in the Australian Open first round. Murray says surgery is his only option if he wants to play beyond this summer's Wimbledon Championships. However, the 3-time Grand Slam winner concedes there is a strong possibility that today's defeat will be his final match, and explain why surgery is such a necessity.
Because I'm in a lot of pain, and I can't last the full distance. You know, I lasted, I think I was good for kind of about 3.5 sets, and then, I mean, I managed to win the 4th set, but in the end of the match, I mean, it's painful to walk. I can't move properly, I can't push up to serve properly, and it affects lots of things when I'm on the court, and that's just one match. So I wouldn't be able to recover well, in my opinion, for the next round either. And you know, I have ambitions of playing further than just the first round in major events. I would like to be doing better than that, and I can. If I had the operation kind of in the next week or so, you know, it'd be unlikely that I'd be able to play Wimbledon. That would be quite a big turnaround. I mean, it's a really big operation. You know, it's a common operation, but it's a big one and not an easy thing to recover from. So there's, you know, a chance by having that I'm not able to play again, and I'm aware of that. But it is also my best option if I would like to try to play for longer than just one more event. You know, but it's kind of a decision between doing that or, you know, resting for the next 4 months and then training and building up to play Wimbledon one last time, and that's kind of the decision I need to make.
Okay, that's Andy Murray. And then to finish the news round,
Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane look like being reunited at Nottingham Forest. The former Republic of Ireland manager held positive talks with Forest owners over the weekend, with an announcement believed to be imminent, and it's been reported that his assistant in the Ireland job will be joining him in the City Ground dugout. Forest sacked Aitor Karanka last week, and the club currently sit 9th in the Championship, 4 points off the playoff. O'Neill left Forest as a player in 1981, where, I don't know if you've heard this before, he'd won 2 European Cups during his time under Brian Clough.
will he remind them that he's won European Cups?
It's just an amazing story that he could, after all of that, he possibly could go back and
win a European Cup.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but with Roy Keane with him, you know, it's sort of like a parody thing because of all the Forest comments that were made. But now it is happening. And he's dipping into a championship club. It's a very different test in terms of they're a very well-resourced championship club, you know, who there was reservations about the previous manager's style of play and that it wasn't entertaining enough. And they're going for the legend angle here.
Still time to buy James McLean in the window as well.
And it seems they're going to be given money to spend as well. I think it's fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Oh, it's amazing. The legend angle will buy them a good 18 months of goodwill.
It won't buy them 18 months. Nope. That club's had that club's had 11 managers in, I don't know, since 2011.
If they don't make the playoffs, they're gone in the summer.
3 months.
18 minutes of goodwill. Like the whole angle of the input the owners have had in that club and stuff like that. So O'Neill got into a scenario where it'll be a different level of control to what he's experienced before, and why is he taking that gig? And there's sort of a myriad of angles to the whole thing.
They don't make the playoffs, he's gone in the summer.
Okay, I was reading in the Guardian were kind of doing a report on it, and O'Neill has faced heavy criticism because they were talking about the style of play.
This is the thing, yeah.
O'Neill has since faced heavy criticism from the Irish media, that's you, Dan, about his style of play, whereas Forest have taken the alternative view that he inherited the least talented group of players the country has produced for many years and actually overachieved to take them to a major tournament, beating Italy and Germany, the world champions in the process. The CV reads just fine.
Well,
Who wrote that?
Well, this is it. I mean, we'll probably discuss this a bit later on, but this is like the conflicting views of O'Neill's tenure, and it's how England see us and how we are how Ireland sees itself.
I think it's fairly I think it's fairly obvious how pretty deep down. He did a fine job under trying circumstances.
He should have that again. It's the trap thing of that bunch of pixies should be happy with what he did for them. Yeah.
Now, look, if I was a part of the English media, I wouldn't be able to name.
Touch wood, Joe.
9 or 10 of the Irish.
No, and listen,
I would think, God, they must be fairly poor.
I agree. Like there's layers to this debate.
Like,
you know,
Seamus Coleman's their best player, really?
Well, that's it. But they scanned the list.
Sure.
They scanned the list. They scanned the squad list. But I mean,
so I understand that opinion over there that O'Neill's done a great job. Because I mean, they talk about how, you know, geez,
he's fostered it very well too.
He gets to the Euros, you know, give France a bit of a lash, and then Wales got to the European semi-finals and they beat them to get to a World Cup playoff.
Oh no,
it looks great.
There's a very, like, you know, and O'Neill's skillful in terms of, you know, he I can imagine one-on-one he'd be very convincing and, you know, enthusiastic and we shall see, you know, like he did have good days, but I mean, I suppose the last year or so were very difficult for him, and we've had players' criticism of him since then. So I just think going into a club where the job is going to be very different. 19 games or something left, 3 games a week sometimes. It's like how it all sort of pans out.
No, it'll be tough. 66.
We'll test it, and Roy may be back there too.
The very latest again, Declan Rice, Nathan Murphy here obsessed, has returned online within the last 10 minutes.
Oh Lord. He
has liked 6 photographs, but not the one from the FAI.
He knows now that's going to set off a storm if he does.
No kidding. Yeah. That's the news round for this evening. So we'll have Pat Nevin with us in a few moments. And just to mark your card as well, no pun intended, Thursday week, the 24th of January, we're going to be in the Sugar Club in Dublin to preview the Dublin Racing Festival. So all-star lineup from the world of racing and beyond, including Niall Quinn, Nicky English, Davy Russell, Rachel Blackmore, Patrick Mullins, alongside Kevin Caban, Johnny Ward, Ger Gilroy and John Duggan. So we'll be looking ahead to a massive weekend of racing taking place at Leopardstown Racecourse on the 2nd and 3rd of February, where top jockeys and trainers will be competing in 14 races, including 8 Grade 1 races for €1.8 million in prize money. It is very much an exclusive off-air event, so the only way to enjoy it is to be there. Tickets are now completely gone, I'm being told, but keep listening to Off the Ball this week and we'll give you a chance to win some final tickets, all with thanks to the Dublin Racing Festival at Leopardstown Racecourse, Saturday the 2nd and Sunday 3rd of February, where you can get your tickets at leopardstown.com for that festival. Now, short break and then Pat Nevin with us.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Get down and get a sense of humour.
You Couldn't Make It Up is back. It's News Talk